In this video, I'm going to look at the different ways that you can enter a function into your worksheet. And so I'm going to start out by using a sum function to calculate the total yearly income for the Drakes. So I'm going to click in cell F9, and rather than using the Auto Sum button, I'm going to go to the Formulas tab on the ribbon and click that. And here is the function library. And the sum function is a math and trig function. So I'm going to click the down arrow there to open up that portion of the library. And you can see there's a long list of functions here. So you have to scroll down to find the sum function. So there it is. I'm going to click on it. And that opens up a function dialog box, which we haven't used before. And so you see the name of the function, a description of what the function does, and then an explanation of what this number one function argument is about. So you'll notice that number one is dark and number two is not bold. Number two is an optional argument, and so its default value is 0. We don't need to do anything with it. We could ignore it because we're just going to work with number one. You can see my insertion point is in this text box right now. So with my insertion point blinking in the number one text box, I'm going to come down to row 21 in my spreadsheet, and I'm going to select C21 through N21. So now you should see that range defined here, and that completes my function. So I'm going to click OK. And up here in cell F9 where I started, I now have the result. So that's one neat thing about functions, is that you don't have to put that sum function at the end of that row. You can put it anywhere you want in the spreadsheet. You just have to select the range that you want summed. Let's look next at the monthly average, and I'm going to go back to my Formulas tab here, but this time I'm going to use Insert Function. And so this is kind of a search dialog box. And you'll see this text box here that says type a brief description of what you want to do, and then click Go. So I'm going to go ahead and type in average and click Go, and there's the average function. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. That opens up the average function dialog box, and you'll see that it has similar arguments to the sum function. You'll see down here a description of what the function does, and then a description of the argument that's selected. So with number one selected here, I'm going to go ahead and come down to the total row again in row 21 and select C21 through N21, and then I'm going to click OK, and there's my average monthly income. Now at the same time, I'm not doing the expenses. I'm just going to focus on the income for the sake of time on this little video. The next thing I want to look at is typing the function straight into the worksheet. And this is the method that I like to use because to me it's easier and more direct than using the dialog boxes, especially when you get to the point where you're nesting one function inside of another. So since this is a formula, I'm going to start out in cell F11, which is the monthly minimum. So I'm going to use a min function. I'm going to type an equal sign, and then I'm going to start typing the function name. And that causes a list of functions that start with the letter M to show up. So here's the min function. I'm going to double click on it. That opens up or starts the min function going, and you can see here that you have a screen tip that shows you what the function should look like, more or less. So the min function is similar in nature to the average and the sum function with regard to the arguments. You have the number 1, which is required, and the number 2, which is an optional argument. So again, I'm going to select C21 through N21, and then I'm just going to press enter, and there's my minimum monthly income. So to do the maximum, I would do the same thing to type it out, equal, and then start typing the name of the function, find the function in the list, double click it, and I'm looking for the monthly maximum, so I'm going to come down here to the monthly totals and select those, C21 through N21, and then press enter. So those are 3 ways that you can enter a function in a worksheet.